In the Company of Charity is a podcast by the Daughters of Charity of St. Vincent de Paul. Each episode will be discussing the church, society, and service to others, all through the lens of the spirit we received from St. Vincent de Paul, the Saint of Charity. Join in the conversation by sending your comments and questions to companyofcharity@gmail.com.
I was listening to a couple of others, and this might be something we can look at, is how we can improve. Like, we can talk to each other about this, but this is when we really want other people to tell us too, like what we could do to improve, because we're all about that. We're humble enough to know, we want our listeners to have the best experience possible, because modification, not mortification.
Yes.
Modification is a good thing.
Innovation.
Yeah. Well, we're starting out humble.
Right.
And this might be where we are mortified. Is with the equipment we use.
Have you ever seen that Catholic talk show one?
No.
Where they're at a table and they have these beautiful headphones.
Oh, I mean, not just them. I've seen others. And I keep saying, that's like the envy, Why
how's
can't
your signal?
We have that?
Let me call you on Zoom. It is kind of...
Well, it's very missionary, though. You just do what you can do, But I think we do need to petition. Maybe some of our listeners could start a campaign,
an email campaign
to the province. Start posting comments. Give them better equipment.
Listen, we spent at least $25 on this lavalier microphone,
and this is better than what we usually use. This is at least better than our cell phone.
You all are getting an insider's perspective
of
behind the scenes.
And, today we're together, face to face. That's a good thing. Usually, because we're in different time zones, I'm about ready to go to bed when we're getting ready to record.
This is too late for me, and I'm barely getting out of prayers and dinner and all that. And trying to run over.
But, we've been managing. We're at almost 20, right? Almost 20 episodes. I mean, once we get them all worked out. That's pretty cool, I think.
I think it's a good milestone. We've been doing them every other week so far, except for the month that we did them every week from Paris.
Which was crazy, actually. That was we got a lot more done. So people need to keep watching for those.
Pope Francis is coming next.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. It's not happening.
But you never know.
Listen.
I mean, we have sisters in Rome.
We have sisters
right
that
in
work
the Vatican
where he lives.
Right.
Santa
Why
Marta.
have we not called them?
Can I tell you a story? So when I was at the Vincentian session, Sister Susan and I went to Rome afterwards for a week, and we stayed with the sisters. Well, we had thought we were so cool because the sister there, who's from the U.S. that lives there, got us tickets for the papal audience. Mm-hmm. And I think they were green. But anyway,
I had red tickets when I went.
The Indian sisters who were with us knew the Indian sisters that work at Santa Marta, who are Daughters of Charity. Yeah. And somehow they ended up with these white papal audience tickets.
That's like...
So we ended up... They got
like
two extra...
Get to ride in the Pope Mobile with them on a white ticket.
Hey-oh. So we were up in that section where... that was right up on the stage, not where the bishops were sitting, obviously, but right behind. And we were in the same section where the brides and grooms come dressed in their wedding gowns and everything. And, if you do, then you get a blessing from the Pope. And so we were in the same section as them, and it was bonkers.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It pays to know people.
It does, absolutely.
In the Vatican.
We now know that we know people in the Vatican. Mm-hmm. Why are we not asking our sisters to get us just 20 minutes with the Pope?
20 minutes.
And we've already done some where we had to have them translated, so that's not an issue for us. We can do podcasts bilingual.
Yes. And my Spanish is getting there.
Well, you could talk,
It's not that great. Just
Hola, papa,
Got it.
You could do that. I could do that much. Get his attention. Mm-hmm. It's possible. I would not put that off the plate. I would say that's maybe on a back burner. We could work on that.
Yeah.
That would be wild.
But I think, it's been cool to see the mix of people that we've been able to get.
Yeah, it's been pretty amazing.
The different topics, the sisters, obviously, that we've had, but, different people connected with the Vincentian family or not. I think.
Just doing really interesting things. I still think my favorite was the organ donation one, because of its sensitivity, but also because it's so unique. I mean, who has podcasts about organ donation?
If you haven't listened to that one, please go back and listen.
Daughter charity kind of vocation focused.
Why not?
Why not? But for me, I think it's, not that everything is going to be Vincentian and you can connect everything that way. But what I really like about what we're doing is these are just real people doing real things, It's not all the rich and famous. It would be nice to have a few rich and famous people, like some big name people.
Bishop Barron.
Out there. If you're out there.
If you're listening right now, give us a call.
Bishop Barron, and then the Pope, we'd be good with that. I think
I would like to have Father Mike Schmitz.
Yeah.
I want to just put that out into the ether. Isn't that something where people...
the ether?
It's a thing. People are, The Secret.
Yeah.
Did you ever read that book?
Yes. Yeah.
Where you speak it and then it comes to you. I don't know. Well, is that grace or is that providence or is that
a miracle? I think it's called a miracle. We got Father Mike Schmidt. We got Bishop Barron. I mean, we're just kind of moving around in that realm.
My friend Lauren Sharmer is super close with Jackie Francois, who's like huge in Catholic circles. So I'm going to put that out there
I think
too.
we just need to keep talking about it, But let's not forget the simple folks, because it's what the simple folks do. They're just really good people that we've talked to. I mean, I really had a great time talking with Jen from the refugee center.
Yeah.
I see her every day, but I mean, we had a great time, just the two of us, mic'd up, talking, She never listened to the episode. She's like, I can't stand listening to myself. I'm like, oh, you'll get over it.
You'll get over it real quick.
Yeah.
When you have to go back and edit, like we edit, you will get over it.
Yeah. So, but those are fun. I mean, I think that some of the ones we've done that have just been really simple are fun. But it would be a really cool thing to do some with folks who are also doing podcasts, that have been out there a while. I mean, we're like, my novice days are over. My young sister seminary days, are
have the spirit. You've got the youthful spirit, sister.
Well, really but I feel like we're like seminary sisters again, like novices again, just learning how to do this. But I think we've been okay. We've been
I think so.
Yeah.
At this meeting, we've had a number of sisters, at least 5 or 6, if not more, have come up to me personally about it.
What I think is really interesting is some of them are older sisters, as with Sister Doris Moore.
I love
she
that girl.
She is as country as they come. Right? I always say, when I lived in Little Rock, my favorite thing was on Saturday night, she loved to watch, and only in Arkansas would this happen, I think, but we would watch the Gaither Family Hour or half hour.
Okay, I have no idea what
it's
that
like,
is.
it's this real gospel, but she doesn't even have an iPhone. She doesn't have a smartphone.
Nothing.
She barely uses her flip phone. I don't know how she's listening to this, but she's listening to it. She said, I was just listening because I love to hear your voice, Liz. I said, I'm not Liz. She's been calling me Liz forever.
I can't get over it.
She gives everybody nicknames. Everybody gets a nickname. So
Elizabeth is burned. Your name is burned into my memory.
I am Elizabeth. I am definitely Elizabeth. But if Sister Doris Moore wants to call me,
she can call you whatever
Liz,
she wants.
She can call me whatever she wants. And she can do that especially if she listens to the podcast. So I gave her...
You gave her a coaster?
I gave her one of our...
we have a podcast coaster.
I am going to put them in every coffee house I can find. After I finish giving out some to the sisters, I'm going to go back home. Utica Coffee, here I come.
They're going to
be everywhere.
Inundated.
That's right.
I love that idea. Sister Lisa Laguna.
Yeah.
You're the bomb.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to you for that. I was so excited when I got
coasters.
Those. And that's everyone who says to me, oh, I heard your podcast.
Here's a coaster.
Sit down, have yourself a nice cup of tea, give yourself a half-hour quiet time. Just put on your little headphones and listen to the podcast.
Just music to the ears.
Yeah, and use your podcast coaster.
Now,
how cool
what else? We were going to talk about one other thing: the updates of the different people that we've had on the podcast.
Yeah. Because St. Louise, she blessed us and cursed us with
many comings and goings.
Many comings and goings. Yeah. So there are many in our personal lives, and there are many among us comings and
Since
goings.
the beginning of the podcast, I moved to Texas,
Yes,
which
you
most
did.
everybody knows at this point.
Yeah.
Your stuff in Utica has
Developed.
exploded.
Yeah, it's really developed a lot. I mean, I always say it's interesting to me is I'm not at all domestic. Let me just put it that way. Like housekeeping and things like that are not. I'm just not one of those kind of people. So we've had cooking classes and sewing classes now, and
Wow.
yeah, it's been really interesting. I mean, you got to do what's in front of you, and you got to do what people say they want and
What they
need.
need.
You got to respect
Exactly.
that, and so it's been really unique. To see. So we have basically a good group of Sudanese, South Sudanese, and Congolese women. So we're learning how to sew in Arabic, Dinka, and Swahili, which is also very interesting experience. But they're having a great time. They're having an absolutely great time, and we're cooking.
Maybe
And
they can teach you something.
well, I'm taking the classes, along with them, and make my own habits someday. That would be pretty
Yes.
awesome. I might
dig
start
that.
with the coif. That's a pretty simple thing. But you never know. You never know. But then our next class, our next training is going to be on how to ride the public transportation.
You got that down.
I am very excited about this. Yeah. That's going to be a really good thing. And once I master it, I might be challenged to put my car aside for a while.
Do it.
That
Do
would
it.
be
In Chicago, that's it. You're just
Yeah.
riding the bus and the train
Yeah,
all
you could
the
do
time.
it. You could do it pretty much in Utica. But anyway, so that's me. So mine's developing.
Who else do we got? So Sister Salvatrice, who you all
Yeah.
have heard her sweet vocal tones on some of the reflections,
Yeah.
and she did an interview a while back. She is now going to be in Chicago.
Yeah, that's
So-
very exciting.
Well, she'll have to
Yeah.
get some more winter clothing since she's
She
been in New
will.
Orleans for like 8 years.
Yeah, so she's coming kind of north to the cold of Chicago, and you have moved to the
The South, the lower
with
Rio Grande
fire and
Valley.
brimstone, practically. It's pretty hot.
I haven't experienced a real summer yet. It's
Yeah,
coming. It's
coming.
happening.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we
see.
had Josephine.
Mm-hmm.
So Josephine was a pre-postulant and is now a postulant in
Postulant.
the Daughters of Charity of
That's
St.
right.
Vincent de Paul.
Yay, Josephine.
Go girl.
Yeah. And Bella.
Bella,
Bella was
discerning.
Yeah, she was
She was
discerning.
a VMC volunteer,
Yeah.
and now she is a pre-postulant.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
So
good
that's
for her.
exciting. 2 pre-postulants.
Mm-hmm.
Postulant, that's great.
What else? Sister Ellen LaCapria moved.
Yeah, she's made a big move actually. I don't know if anyone remembers from her episode. I think she mentioned that she was caring, doing some caring for her mom who passed away. So we
God
pray for
bless
her family, for her mom too. But that was a big thing. But now Ellen has taken on the role in a Vincentian family. I forget exactly the whole title of what she's doing, but it's an international commission.
Oh yeah,
They're
she's
doing
traveling all over the place.
So she just came back from the Philippines. We'll have to find out what exactly that title is.
We're just gonna have her on the another
actually,
episode.
that would be
because
amazing because
she was
the
in
work
some
that
crazy places.
the committee works on doing training for systemic change. It comes out of Father Bob Maloney's book on the Seeds of Hope, which is a book that he edited and wrote. I mean, he wrote it. He edited a number of different stories from Vincentians, people in the Vincentian family who have done like amazing projects where they've really looked at the issues of changing systems that keep people poor, basically, and trying to fix those systems or to eliminate those systems. That sense of systemic change that keeps people down, and when you're able to free them from those oppressions, they really can rise above all that. So she's working in that kind of atmosphere. But her most recent trip was to the Philippines, and she is so excited.
Freaking cool.
She's so excited. She's going to be traveling to most of the Vincentian family groups in the English-speaking world, basically, which is pretty big. Pretty big.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, some Asian countries, African countries, of course the European countries where English is spoken. So that's a big thing for Sister Ellen. So that's
She might meet the Pope before we see him.
She might meet the Pope. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
I think one thing that, as I reflect on this experience with you so far, because we've known each other for, I don't even know, it has to be at least
20,
17, 18.
yeah.
something years.
I would say close to 20 years anyways.
Yeah. And so it's just been so fun.
It has.
It's just been so fun doing this.
I think so. I mean, not just the podcast, just living community life, this this adventure of the charism, meeting, God in the poor, understanding the gift of this charism of St. Vincent de Paul and St. Louise, and seeing it come alive, when I was vocation director, and seeing it kind of connect with you. I mean, there were a lot of women that were working that were, discerning at Mary Washington when we first met. And they've gone on to become sisters in wonderful communities, and they're just wonderful, wonderful, beautiful sisters. And you came to the Daughters and blessed us with your presence. Yeah. And what did I always say? I used to say, if she doesn't come to this community, it's going to be our fault. We've done something wrong. She is supposed to be here.
Yeah. I was reflecting. I was reflecting on it because, we do this once a month online discernment call.
Yeah.
And so it's discerners from anywhere really in the country, but who've been connected with us just initially, in the very, very early stages. And we do these monthly video calls on Zoom. Mm-hmm. And to hear the 3 pre-postulants talk about coming back from when they were with their families for Thanksgiving, and then they were coming back to the sisters from that time away, and how they were talking about wow, I felt like I was coming almost home, to a second home.
It's an amazing. Do you remember having that feeling the first time you felt that?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you feel connected, and it's different than family.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in a sense, I mean, it's even deeper than family.
Yeah.
Because
I would say it's like a spiritual DNA that kind of wakes up. Yeah. Something in you comes alive that you didn't even know was there, and all of a sudden it's kind of living and breathing in you, and it doesn't separate you from your family necessarily. It doesn't, but it does. It gives you a different identity, and you can't deny it when it happens.
It's hard to explain, I think. But when I see, and maybe you could speak to more of this, because I'm not a vocation director in any sense, and I'm grateful not to be at this moment in history.
Yeah, I still can't believe I ever was, but
But I think I feel something in that vein of when I see a young person who gets who we are, and who is connecting the dots, and who even if they don't really know our language or our terminology, they seem to speak it anyway.
Yeah.
And so when you see that, you're like, oh, wait.
Yeah.
I think they get it.
Yeah. I mean, I always used to have these feelings. I was young in vocation when I was the vocation director. I was only 5 years. I had just made vows for the first time when I was asked to be vocation director. I think they thought, she's younger, but I wasn't young. I was in my 30s. So they probably thought, well, she's all right. She's kind of mature, And she's new enough.
They had no idea.
She still has enthusiasm, But I can remember, remembering for myself those first moments when I knew, I used to drive from Jacksonville, Florida, where the sisters were, and I was living at that time in Port St. Lucie, Florida. It was maybe a 3 or 4 hour drive. And I remember once getting to the city, I think it was Titusville or someplace, and I stopped to get gas. And I had this moment where I thought, if something happened, if I got a flat tire, God forbid, or something happened, I was about halfway home. I thought, would I call my mom, who was, in Port St. Lucie? Yeah, or would I call the sisters? And when I realized there was no hesitation, I would call the sisters. That was where I felt connected. So I get that sense. And you're right, when you see it happen in someone else, not only do you feel like you've represented well, that you're living the charism well enough that somebody sees it in you and can come alive within themselves, but it's a really good feeling, because then you say, well, I'm not the only one.
I know.
I'm not so crazy.
Or we're all weirdos. I'm a weirdo and they're a weirdo too.
That's right.
So it's all right.
So we'll be weirdos together. That's good. But, I remember when when you were discerning and there was just something, no matter how much you may have resisted it, to me it was just like so clear, like
a matter of time.
At some point, God was gonna point it out to you, and was gonna make sure that you knew this is where you belonged. And it's not always perfect, It's not, you don't come to it and say, oh, okay, that's done, I mean, you still wake up some mornings. I mean, I'm 20-something years, 23 years vocation. I still wake up some mornings saying, how exactly did this happen?
Like, what is happening?
What is happening, What is this? Like, this is who I am now. This is who I've always been. I've just really stepped into it, and taken hold of it and claimed it as my own now,
We went to the grocery store earlier, literally like an hour ago, and we went to Schnucks. For all you Midwesterners, Schnucks is where it's at.
Yeah.
And it was 3 of us sisters and 3 of the pre-postulants, and so we were just getting stuff and laughing and being obnoxious and just having a grand time. And these guys were like, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to have to get the ruler for you people, and it was just really, you don't have those kind of conversations normally.
That's right. And I always think they're going to like go home and go, honey, you should have seen who came in the store today, Like, it's a beautiful thing. And I think it's something, I think seeing sisters, definitely seeing joyful women who just, want to just love the world. I mean, sometimes I think that's all God's really asking us to do is just show love and joy of heart to the world, especially to a world that just seems so broken sometimes, that it's just crazy. It just can be really crazy, and it can be really fun.
So listen, we should wrap this up.
I think so.
We could talk, and I promise you, when we're done recording,
we're going to keep talking. You're going to miss some.
You're going to miss the best parts, guys.
Well, that's right.
My bad.
The private conversations will happen next.
What's the call to action? Everybody has a call to action. I feel like we need a call to action.
Oh, I don't know. Well, if you feel like we need one, what do you think it is?
Well, everybody needs to write a review on iTunes.
Yes, definitely write a review.
And we need people to send us their ideas.
Yeah. And references for speakers. Like, give us some ideas of like who you'd like to hear, and if there's someone
topics.
If there's someone that you think, hey, they'd be good for this podcast, let us know. We have our email address, companyofcharity@gmail.com. companyofcharity@gmail.com. Remember it. So you can email us, give us some suggestions, and definitely give us some ratings and
reviews, guys. Yeah, pretty please, and thank you.
Yeah, and thank you. And be gentle if it's critical, and be like abundant.
We're
if
actually
it's
only looking for 5-star reviews, so if you can work that out.
I gave them a 5 because they told me to.
Sister Elizabeth and Sister Liz made me do it. If you put that in the review,
that's okay. We don't.
I'd actually pay you $1.
Yeah, we'll pay you $1. $1.
We thank you guys for listening, and just not only listening to this episode because we think this is the best one of just hanging out and shooting the breeze. But thank you guys for listening, and go back and listen to some of those other episodes that maybe are of interest to you. Yeah,
definitely. I think like I said, we've interviewed and we've done some really interesting things, and we're hoping to just keep getting better and doing a lot more interesting conversations. We have a number of interviews that are coming up that are going to be really good. But definitely go back and get a feel for the progress of this and see how it's going. Yeah.
Listen to episode 1, Sister Denise, all the way to this episode,
you'll be like, wow, have they really improved?
Or they've tanked. We're not sure.
Right.
Okay, we're going to stop it before things get any more ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, bless you all.
Pray for us, we'll pray for you.
There you go. That's it. Bye.
This has been in the Company of Charity podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.